Good morning, everyone. Clint McLaughlin here with Midwest Market Management. It is Tuesday, April 29th. We're rounding the end of April here, fixing to turn the calendar to May. We're going to jump right into U.S. weather. I appreciate everybody joining in. I got Riley Sykard here with me. He's pulled up the Marcus weather maps, and yeah, let's just dive right in, Riley.
Sounds good. First thing I want to look at here before we get too far underway, planting progress. Corn side of things came out at 24% yesterday afternoon. That's ahead of the 5-year average at 22%. A lot of states that played catch up from the week before. And then there's also were states that had a week of wide open running last week. So definitely a big impact on the markets, seeing good progress being made here. Wouldn't you agree with that?
Yeah, so Illinois, they're currently at 16 and their average is 26. Is that accurate?
Yep.
So they appear to be a little bit behind schedule, but looks like they actually have the driest 6 to 10 day forecast. So hopefully they'll do some catching up there in the Eastern Belt. Indiana, 10% versus 13 on average, and Ohio's actually ahead of schedule here. So Iowa, where are we at? 34 versus 28. So ahead of schedule in Iowa.
Yep.
Yeah, let's jump into some maps.
Yep. Beans are pretty similar story there. You and I have mentioned a lot of guys planting beans first now. I don't think there's a reason to spend a ton of time on that.
No,
Flicking
I
over.
would agree.
Flicking over here, 1 to 5 day temperatures. We're seeing 60s to in the south, 70-degree temperature. I mean, pretty dang ideal for planting. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, and pretty well in alignment with normal temperatures. And actually, we warm up really nicely starting next week.
Yep, show that here. See a lot of temperatures in the 70s and 70-degree weather and planting. It doesn't really get a whole lot better than that. So temperature's definitely not a factor right now. Looking very ideal. So move it in here. This is the tail of the tape. Last 13 days of rainfall. You can see Iowa, Missouri, Wisconsin. Those areas got decked pretty good. But other than that, last 13 days, you can see in the Dakotas, Nebraska, Eastern Corn Belt, they got enough gaps. There's a lot of crop that was able to get stuck in the ground last week. So
yeah, I've talked to, not it's not going to summarize everybody, but our office has talked to quite a few people in the Dakotas that are actually done with soybean planting, and their earliest plant date was the 25th. There was a lot of soybeans planted in South Dakota ahead of the RMA plant date. These rains that they did receive, I mean, they were more than welcomed overall there. So and then if you were to zoom into the states here, we know that there are some areas in Iowa and Missouri and Wisconsin that experience more rain than maybe what these maps articulate, but we intentionally try to zoom out and not dive into the main heaviest hit areas, because the reality is, guys, that happens somewhere every single year. There's always some problematic areas, and we try to zoom out and keep this into a national yield perspective. So
yep, I agree. Moving in here, surface soil moisture is not very changed from last week. Dakota's still, like you mentioned, any rainfall they get are well received. Everybody else starting to get the moisture they need, but overall, not really any concerns right now. Subsoil showing the same thing. Actually, some areas more wet than we've seen probably in the last 2 or 3 years for this time of year. So
again, not the ideal time to be receiving the rain. We would all love to just see this perfect, picture perfect planting season. The reality is those don't generally occur. And you have to admit that from an agronomical standpoint, the reduction in brown on this map and moving towards green at the beginning of the growing season is exactly what the farmers are going to want to see 2 weeks from now when they get this thing planted.
Yep, absolutely. Drought monitor map, not really any changes there. Flicking over to the looking forward forecast, this 1 to 5 day, there looks to be some rains moving that Wednesday through Friday. That's going to be hitting the eastern corn belt. But these couple days here before we hit that, those guys are running as fast as they can right now, and give guys 2 days of good running. But in today's world, you can stick a lot of crop in. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, absolutely. We know how fast things happen here, and again for wheat country, boy, they haven't seen moisture like that in Oklahoma in quite some time. Texas, dipping into parts of Kansas as well, and then the soft red wheat belt is also doing pretty good. But favorable conditions for down there in the south as well.
One thing extra to note, the areas that did get a lot of rain in the 13 day, they're now getting a little stretch here in the forecast where they're actually going to help dry out a little bit and open their planting window back open again too. So more reason to show that farmers are, as of right now, looking like they're going to be able to get this crop stuck in a pretty good time. So moving into the 6 to 10 day, it's kind of a big shift from the east to the west, more rainfall in the areas that really need it. Like you mentioned, the Kansas, Nebraska, Dakotas. These are areas that were already really needing rainfall. So anything in that 6 to 10 day will definitely be well received.
Yeah. And, this is a really tough year to kind of characterize because I don't think there's ever been any points where we've just been nationally wide open. The areas that were, early planting, well, some of those areas seemed to be really fit and some guys were running and other guys weren't. That was kind of a choice, early on. And then we've had some moisture here and there, so it's really hard to isolate exactly who's been running and where. But the point I wanted to make here, guys, is this is the 6 to 10 day forecast. And I would venture to guess by the end of this forecast, there will be a lot of guys that are putting the planter up for the year and are completely done. There will be a lot left to go yet, but I would say that we're going to make a very strong stance planting in this window. And look at the calendar date on this map ending on May 8th. That's still very, very early in the grand scheme of getting the crop planted. So even if we do have some stragglers going in a week, even 2 weeks after that, it's not ideal, but it's not a complete train wreck either, particularly if those later bushels go in, those later acres go in optimal conditions. So, the temperatures are warming up, plenty of moisture for germination. It's really hard to argue that this is anything but a pretty good start on a national level. Yes, there will be some spotty issues. I promise you there are some guys out there that are wishing they had missed some rains. But from a national perspective, I think we're in pretty good shape.
I agree. Finishing this out here, 1 to 13 day, showing everybody's going to be getting some kind of rain. But like you mentioned, there's going to be areas that are finishing their crop or already have it finished and are welcoming this. And there's going to be those areas that maybe they don't get the crop finished until the end of May. But look at last year, there was farmers still planting corn up into the last week of May, and we had a national yield that was ridiculously high. So, it's showing that crop can be stuck in the ground the full month of May, and it's not going to be a big hindrance. So right now, in terms of planting conditions, I don't see any reason to be negative.
No, the driest spot left in here is that, North Dakota area and northwest South Dakota. It's remaining unfavorably dry, and they've been dry. So, like to see some rain shift up there.
Yep. But other than that, that's all we got for today, Clint. It's might not be what everybody wants to hear, especially guys that did get caught in those big rain pockets, but the reality is there's not a big storyline right now. Stuff looks good.
Yep. No, won't be long. We're gonna, have this thing in the ground, and we'll be into that time of year where rain makes grain. So the last thing we really want to do right now is shut the rain off. So hopefully we can continue seeing it here through the growing season from an agronomic perspective. Markets probably a little less than impressed with the planning progress and the forecast here today, but it's April and there is a lot of time. It's a long way from the corn being in the bin. Riley, one real quick thing I do want to talk while hopefully we still have some guys hanging in here. Had a lot of talk about what are we going to do with new crop. We've taken some new guys on that don't have anything sold yet. And we have a saying around here with the insurance is never set it and forget it. And for most of our producers, we were really pushing on the ECO to get guys to higher levels of coverage, assuming no yield loss, and we come in at a county yield equal to the expected county yield. Your corn would start kicking in at a price of around 446. So as of right now, with this break in the market, we're going to really lean on our insurance right now. The value we get out of insurance is more than at the end of the season, did I get paid or not get paid? Lean on that insurance right now and hold off on new crop sales because it is not even May yet, guys. There's a lot of season ahead of us. And if you don't get a better opportunity than now, if you bought up on the insurance, lean on that and things will have a way of working themselves out. So I just wanted to point that out. Never set it and forget it. Don't buy your insurance and fail to remember what it's doing for you. Right now, it should be working for you right now.
Yep, definitely not time to be hitting the panic button on April 29th. So.
Yep, absolutely. So enjoy that put on revenue, plant your corn, better days ahead and from a marketing standpoint, hopefully. And if not, we'll figure out a plan later on. Riley, I appreciate you putting all these maps here together. If you missed it, go back onto the YouTube channel and look for our Safrinha corn updates. Those will be coming out here today too. And I, again, appreciate everybody tuning in. MidwestMarketManagement.com be a good place to get in touch with us. Thanks a lot. Have a great day.